to the Retail Growth Podcast. I am super excited to have on the amazing Hortense Le Gentil. And she's coming in all the way over from America, from the US. And I'm so excited to have her here with me today. I've seen her on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, definitely check her out. She's amazing articles there. But I fell in love with this book, Align. It's absolutely amazing. As you can see, there's tabs on it because I use it when I'm coaching my clients. And Hortense has an amazing way of explaining and using metaphors in how she talks about her own journey to alignment, but also her journey with her clients. And I love the way she simplifies how to find that purpose and alignment within yourself and to help others find that as well. And it's really clear even in her book and herself. Hortense is a really giving person, and she really does help you understand things that you feel are quite complex, but really bringing them down and going, what is it that makes me excited? What is it that makes me happy? What makes me get out of bed in the morning? And all of these amazing things I personally have gotten so much out of, but I'm sure other people out there can definitely resonate with this today. So obviously I'm in the retail sector 15 years, and retail is all about emotion. And we know that when we go into a store, we get happy, we get excited, we buy something, we might bring family and friends, we might buy them gifts, and we get all that happy feeling. And to me, this book really resonated with me on so many different areas, because not even from a customer coming in the door, but from me with my teams and inspiring them and motivating them on the shop floor every day, it really rang true. Because if we're not happy in what we do, that reflects in the environment that we bring into that workplace every day. So I'm really excited. Thanks for coming on, Hortense. I'm super excited to have you on today, and I have so many different things to talk to you about. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Hortense. And for anyone that doesn't know a little bit about you, can you just tell them a little bit about Hortense and what it is you do, and what kind of your little bit about you, I suppose, your story, in case anyone doesn't know.
Sure. So first, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, and I see your emotion. You are passionate, and thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here. So as you can hear, I am from France. I was born and raised in France. I studied both marketing, both in Paris and in Boston. Came back to France. And I took the scenic roads to find my calling. So I work in different large corporate industry, in advertising agency, for media, and as an entrepreneur for almost a decade, until I really find my calling at that moment. And I became a full-time executive leadership coach, and I'm coaching CEO and senior executives to try to be the best version of themselves. And I moved from Paris to New York. So now I'm living in New York. And I am also an author working on my second book. And what else? And a speaker. And I try my best to help people to unlock themselves, be aligned, be the best version of themselves, closing the gap between who they are today and who they want to be, who they meant to be. And moving the leadership, moving from hero leader, so having all the answer, to be a human leader, so vulnerable leader. So this is what I do, and this is what drives me.
So I love that you found, in reading your book, it rings true that you really know what your purpose is, what your why is, what your alignment is. And there's some people out there where it tells that feel they know their why, but don't really know what it is. So it's very much a buzzword at the moment, and people feel, I enjoy what I do. But how do people, I suppose, match their values with their purpose? How do we go about figuring that part out?
You begin at the beginning. And at the beginning, you need to work on it, to reflect on it, and to think about what is important for you. And I agree with you; it's not easy. Yeah, I didn't find my why in 5 minutes, as I told you. I took the scenic roads to come here, so I needed a lot of time. And And by the way, at the beginning, I was not even aware of the fact that I should be aware of the why. You are very young, so that's great that at your age you're thinking about it. That's great. I think that's great that today we talk about it. But it was a time when nobody talked about it, and so begin at the beginning and take the time to reflect and to think about it and to think what is important for me. If you don't know, go back to your life, because it's amazing how our life shape us, and you have all the answer in your life. So go back to the moment where you were energized, you found energy, you were happy, you know, and you will find some clue there. So define your why, define what is important, your values for you, and how you want to be remembered as a leader, as a person. And by the way, when I talk about leader, and especially in the book, and that's why I wrote the book, I consider that everyone is a leader, because you are the leader of your life, at least. So everyone is a leader. So it applies to everyone. It's not only CEO and senior executives. It's everyone, each of us. When you are ready, when you want to begin your journey, okay, begin there.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that we're all our own leaders of our own life, and I think that's really important, because I do think that certainly in certain businesses, organizations, you know, everyone matters, and I think sometimes there's this superiority that, you know, people that are at maybe a head office level and people that are maybe on the shop floor stocking shelves, that they don't contribute to that business purpose or that mission as much as the person in the boardroom, which I don't believe in. I think that, you know, that person stocking the shelves, they might only be there a couple of hours a week, they might be on minimum wage, they attribute to that environment that customer comes into, and just as much as those people in the boardroom, because those are the people that we see every day, that we go in and they're the face of the business, as I like to say, and they're just as important. I suppose I've obviously coached and I've worked with loads of different people through the last number of years, and something that kind of I questioned a few times was that, does our why change, Hortense? Does it change based on our experience? I know in the book you talked about, you know, that we can have trauma happen in our lives, we can have something happen in our lives, things can change. But do you believe, I suppose, that it can change, or do you think that there's going to be a thread running through similar, but we might tweak, or things that we want might tweak? What do you think?
That's a great question. I think that, no, of course, nothing is decided one day and doesn't move, because, you know, it's a definition of human being. We are evolving, we are changing, things happens, as we can see, and we can see especially those days. So everything can change, and so your why is going to evolve for sure. Except if you have, I don't know, except if you find your calling very young, for example, and you want to be a doctor, and you stick to there and you know exactly what you do. It can happen. But even then, I think that, you know, you shape it. It's a bit like, you know, an artist who is going to do, you know, design a statue. See? Yeah. So you have this block, you know, this block is this rock, and okay, and you design it, and you know, when you evolve in life, you can, you know, add, I don't know, a nice eye or whatever it is in your on your statue. And so this is what I think. I think you shape your why. One day you find it, and also when you are 20, it's hard sometimes to find it, and life can help you to define it better, you know, a little later and through your journey. So I think it's important to be agile and to say, okay, this is it, but maybe I can even be more specific on it.
Yeah, I love that, and I suppose what feeds into that for me is the fear of failure, and this is something that can hold us back a lot. And I seen this when I was reading your book, in the context of revisiting the fear. And I think you had a story around your horse and got into the water. And I loved that. Again, you've a great way of bringing a story and matching the story and how you explain, how things happen. And I think it's I'm an Irish person, so Irish people are famous for storytelling.
Mhm.
So when we hear a story, I immediately, that light bulb moment comes up, and I go, I can engage in that very easily. So I love this talk about revisiting the fear, because I think what can happen sometimes is we want to be so forward focused that we can
Mhm.
make not want to revisit that fear, because we feel that by revisiting it we might be reliving it. But I think there's a lot to be said in revisiting it from limitations, I suppose, and holding us back.
Mhm.
um do you think there's, I suppose, a willingness there for people, in business or in personal, that we revisit this enough? Or what do you think comes out of that, revisiting the fear?
You talk about fear and failure. So failure for me is a gift. So
Yeah.
because we learn from them, so we evolve. As a human being, it's that way. We evolve in difficult time. So if you are in the middle of something complicated, be happy, because you're moving, you're evolving, you are going to learn something from it, and you're going to change. So that's good. And you talk about fear. Yes, fear. We are, of course, same as a human being. We have a lot of fears, and this is normal. But the fears can help you if it's a driver. But very often, at one point, it begins something that holds you back, and you have to face this fear, make peace with the fear, and move on. And because change, what is change? Why are we afraid of change? We are afraid of change because we created our brain, and we created, as human being, we created habits that are here to securize, for security. It's a security for us, I mean. And so when we have to change, we have to move from known to unknown, and we have to move from your comfort zone to I don't know what. So of course your brain is going to tell you, oh, no, I don't want to change. It's dangerous somewhere. You are successful here, or you are happy here, or maybe you are not that happy, but you don't know what's going to happen next. So, and in fact, as a leader, as a person, it's the same. We evolve, and we absolutely need to face those fears, to make peace with them, and to move forward. And yeah, the story in the book is the story of my horse, who was so she didn't want to jump river. Gosh. So each time we had a river, because I was a competitor, a horse competitor, in show jumping, and each time we had a river, God, she got left, right, by. We were fighting. It was crazy. So I decided, I said, okay, I don't know what's happened, but something happened for sure. And so I took time with her. We spent a lot of time together, and with water, playing with water around a river and things like that. So, and it took time, but, she changed, because she has associated, the river with something, with a fear. So probably something happened before me, I don't know, I was not aware of it, but something happened for sure, because she associated that river with fear. And so taking time with her, showing her that river could be something nice also, that there is no danger here, make it possible. So after a time, she was not afraid anymore of river, and she jumped very well the river. And that was it.
Yeah, I think in retail anyways, we can get quite used to doing the same things. Okay, so we get very used to, doing the same things, and you find innovation doesn't come very easily like other industries. So if we look at the tech industry, the technology, they're very innovative. So retail, we don't see a lot of that innovation, and I believe it's habitual. So if I look at the COVID, and a lot of retailers didn't have an online store, a lot of retailers didn't have their online set up properly. So they really had to reinvent themselves. They had to really look at how convenient they were making it for consumers to really actually shop online, and how they were connecting and engaging with people, not just when they came in and visited, but how they're building a community around their brands outside of their actual building. And I think a lot of that was tied up in fear of doing things differently, because we got so used to doing the norm and things the way we used to do, that there's a worry, if we do things in a different way, will it be rejected? And will consumers buy into it? So it's just, your story resonated with me, because I thought of those times where we'd be going, okay, why don't we do something differently? And you'd be met with that resistance of, no. And you could have a lot of your team that are innovative, but you find that maybe other senior members of the team are, well, we want to do things the way we used to do them, Louise. So my whole question is, how can we, if we're in a work scenario like that, Hortense, is there any way that we can maybe get buy-in from people that are still bought into that old way of doing things? How do we change that mindset, or can we? Is it up to the individual, or is it the case that we can try and inspire them, or try and get them out of that way of being stuck in those ways of doing things in business? Because it can be quite hard, especially if you, like me, I get quite excited about newness. Some people don't have that excitement. They're very rigid and set, and it can be quite, you have that friction there,
Yeah. What I hear is different things. First, you talk about COVID. I think that as human being, when you are not obliged to do things, and to go to leave your comfort zone, you don't do it. Why should I? It works that way, and what should I? So there is a fear and also a lazy, let's say, way of acting, thinking, whatever it is. You talk about innovation. If you want to innovate, you have to take risk. But if you want to innovate, you have to be willing to innovate. Why should I innovate? Do you say that? What should I change? If there is nobody asked me anything, or don't complain. And when COVID happened, we saw here, for example, with Best Buy. Best Buy, in 1 minute, what's happened? The need of the customer changed. So as a retailer, well, you follow your customer, or you follow, or much better, you are before your customer needs. But there are new needs. In 1 day, in 1 week, everyone needed, computer, technical things, or whatever it was. So they were obliged to move. So what did they do? They opened, first they created a pickup, pickup thing, so shopping pickup, so and increase, the online and delivery. And this is a good example, because of course they did great and very well, but they had to adapt. And when you have to adapt, because as a retailer, you are very close to your customer. So if your customer needs change, you change. And you adapt yourself. So I think it's a very good example. So, think about it, how your customer change, because you know very well your customer. when you're a retailer. You're there, you're the frontliner, you're here, you know them, you live with them. So they change, they move, they, the needs change, of course, because again, it's, as human being, it's our journey to change, to evolve and everything. So you also should can try first understand them, and second try to be before them. Microsoft, for example, is doing that also. It's all about, okay, what do you think that you're going to need, but you don't know that you're going to need yet. Yeah. So it's all about that. So and yeah, because retail, frontliner retailer, it's magic business. So but you're so close to, again, to your customers, so you just follow them.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you're right. I think when you touch there on innovation and wanting to come up with something, you actually have to want to. You have to want it, and to be in that. And that actually leads me very nicely into, and I loved this. You told a story in your book about a busy CEO. And I could relate to this on so many levels, having worked with people like that, and also actually having been like that as well in some jobs where I was so busy doing B2Bs, doing events, doing, training, doing this. And I was just laughing reading that, because I was going to relate to it so many ways. And then I could actually see, I've seen people like that, that person that's going 90 miles an hour, but they're not really, I suppose, slowing down and seeing what do I need to prioritize, and what do I really need to focus on, and doing 10 things all at once. And I think the reflective, and I did show at the beginning there, the reflective practice and the slowing down. How beneficial is that, do you think? Because I don't see enough of workplaces encouraging managers, leaders, to actually reflective practice. And I feel it's something that should be part of everyone's performance plan and work. I think everyone should have a reflective journal in the workplace. This is me speaking on my own, but I really do believe if leadership teams reflective journaled a lot more, I really do think emotional intelligence will go up, because self-awareness and self-regulation, which tie into that reflective piece, will really solidify that and put it into practice, not just talking about it, but doing what it is we're talking about. So what do you think? What's your thoughts on that, Hortense?
It's very simple. Do it, try it. And when you will realize that it's your power, don't worry, you will do it. Because it's really, really your power. Taking time to reflect, to take care of yourself, to do your checking, daily checking, as I say, and to be sure that you are on track, and you're aligned, and everything is, and talking about, and you have to check in every day. People don't understand that it's your power. And when you try it, you understand. It's really your power. You need to refuel. You need to realign yourself, to have your vision, to be better, to feel your power. It's exactly like a rocket. The fire. It's a fire of the rocket. So, be sure that the fire is still on fire. And if you want, the rocket to work correctly. So this is very easy. Tell them, challenge them, and said, okay, just try. Please try 1 week. You will see. You will find your power. It's very important. We think that, we are very clever, always talking and running everywhere, that it's very good to be always busy, because that means that you do a lot of things. But in fact, just take time, half an hour, 10 minutes per day, to reflect, to take care of yourself, to exercise, to reconnect with your body, reconnect with your why, reconnect with your vision, reconnect to, just because, you are the captain of the boat. As a leader, you are this captain. So you need to have this vision. And you need your crew, everyone, to be here with you and understand the vision, understand the direction, and all together, walk, in the same direction.
Yeah.
And so to do that as a leader, you really need to check that, you are still aligned and your vision is still clear.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you actually mentioned it in the book where that leader is focused on is where everyone else is going to be focused on. And I think, I think it really resonated because I think in business, we can hold a lot of different hats and we can be doing a lot of different things. But I think when we are around those individuals that we're going back to that alignment piece, we're going back to that vision piece, and we're really, I suppose, revisiting that, like you said, and we mightn't feel in ourselves it's top of our agenda list, but by making it top of our agenda around those people, it actually has a really powerful effect. And I think sometimes we forget because we're caught up in all of the little small things, that those things, and talking about that vision and revisiting it. Well, why are we serving customers in the store? What is the purpose of doing this? What is it? Why do we like doing what we do? What's the meaning? We want to make people feel good about wearing good clothes. We want to, bring this feeling. We want to make people feel welcome. We tend to get bogged down in doing stock takes, operational tasks, all of this other stuff, where are we sitting in our sales figures? We can get so caught up in the other admin, operational aspects of the business that we forget what it is what's actually putting money in the till. Why is it we're actually getting money in the till? And it's those things, that vision is what's actually fueling that to begin with. And I think it's really prevalent, I think. And I really liked that. I really like that revisiting. And it's something that I've actually wrote it down on my notes that I'll actively start to do more myself, because I think even when you start off your own business as an entrepreneur, you're doing everything. You don't have a team behind you like I used to have for 15 years. I don't have a big team. It's me on my own. And you have to really, when you get in those minds where you're like, I'm doing 5 things, you have to go back and revisit, well, are they in alignment? Because I think you touched on this in the book about feeling frustrated. And those moments of frustration is when we're maybe misaligned with the direction we're going in. And I loved that, because I think a lot of people will resonate with that they're, what is taking energy away from you and why is that? And that energy that's been taken out of you, why revisiting that alignment, and am I being misaligned? I think it's really powerful, Hortense, and yeah, I think it's really, really good. And I think if many of us, even on a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday in our week, 2 or 3 times in the week, looked at that, I think we'd be happier, because we wouldn't have those frustrations that maybe we're having in a lot of our day,
Louise, I would recommend to do it every day.
Yeah.
It's not two times a week, every day. For example, for myself, I do every day. I do it on morning, and you need a routine.
Yes, yeah.
You need a routine, and so on morning I have my routine, and then on evening I have my daily questions. So I put some question or some decision that because you evolve. So I always have that. It's your tutor. So did I communicate correctly? Or for example, did I listen correctly today? Or I don't know, you can also put things like, did I exercise? Did I eat correctly? Did I talk to my children? Did I talk correctly to my customer? Sorry, let's say customer. Sorry. customer, whatever it's important for you. Because, when you do the work, you know why you do things. And from there, from your why, your driver, your values, this is your tutor. And how you want to be remembered is going to help you to shape, this. But you need work to do that. You cannot answer this question in 5 minutes. That's not possible. No. That's not true. So you need work. You need to reflect. So sometimes you can reflect by yourself, or sometimes you can reflect with someone is better. So you can have a coach, kind of psychologist. You can have a spiritual leader. You can have a best friend, maybe. Yes, a best friend can help also. A friend who really know how to listen. And you can do the work by yourself also. You can journaling every day. You can try to journaling also, and it works. And from there, after you create it every day, so it's daily checking, question or just sentence, and you reflect to it every day. Because your brain, it's a new muscle, it's a muscle. So your brain is exactly like you want to work, your arm. You have to do it every day. It's not every other day, because it's going to take a lot of time, right? And it doesn't work. So you want to to work, to make it work, to make it working. So every day I recommend, and it's not long. It's not long. You can take just 10 minutes. I have one of my clients is taking 10 minutes every day, and he stops in the middle of the day, and he's having a cup of coffee by himself, looking at the windows, and he puts, on, and he listens to his best music. So he always have the best music, the same music. It makes it slow down, everything, you center it again. You can feel how you can realize, or maybe, I don't know, you're very nervous, or you realize, oh, I didn't eat, maybe, or I didn't drink, or I don't know, I'm cold, I'm hot, whatever it is. But you make your brain and your body slow down. And okay, it's a kind of meditation. Meditation is what? Being at the present moment. But why you did that? Why it's important to do it? Because you refuel, because you make your brain slow down and for a while. So if you just stop the noise, you can breathe, and you can see differently, correctly. But if you make noise always in your brain, and this is what we are doing all day long, you have this question: did I do that? No, I have to do that. No, I have to do that. No, let me think about that. And okay, see how tiring it is. So you will find the power here. Yeah, you will find this power here, and every day you have to find your own routine. Each person is different. So one of my clients did that. Another one went what she did. Oh yes, it was so funny. So walking on, of course, walking remote is nice, but you are always in front of a screen, and you're sitting in your, this is crazy. So what she did it every morning. She had this routine. She went down. She went around the building, around the street, and come up and said, okay, now I'm at work. So it was, and it was her way to to stop down, or to say, to tell to her brain, okay, the day is beginning, so now we're changing energy and moving forward. And but each person has to find their own way. Again, you can journaling, it works very well. Doesn't matter, but it's every day.
Yeah, I love that. And what comes to mind is, and someone said this to me before, and I just thought it was fantastic. Emotion is motion. So emotion is motion in motion. So in order to get that emotion, that energy. We have to have emotion for them to come together. So the story of her, of that client going downstairs and walking around, she's attaching an emotion and an energy to an action. And when that happens, something magic happens in the brain, because it does, it attaches that then to this different, different way of thinking. So I just think, yeah, I think that's fantastic. Really interesting way to put it into context, I think. I've taken up a lot of your time. I have one more question that it's a burning question that when I was reading the book, as a leader, I've managed lots of teams, and it's something that I thought about in the book. How can leaders leverage their own personal alignment? So we've talked about how we can do that and doing it every day. And I think you're right in what you're saying. It's like a muscle flexing, and we talk about neuroplasticity and all of that, and rewiring of the brain. And you touch a little bit about that in the book. And it is like a muscle. We have to build it. So you're right in saying we need to be doing that on a daily thing and making it a habitual habit. But how do we get personal alignment? How do we foster that, I suppose, as collective alignment? How do we foster that within a team environment? Hortense, for anyone listening maybe that has said, I've done the inner work. I have a couple of members of the team that I'm kind of struggling with. How do I foster that with them? How do I make that happen?
So as you said, you begin at the beginning, as we said before. So as a leader, you have to be sure that you yourself, you did the work.
Yes.
So you did the work of, again, your why and your alignment, and you did the work after to do the work with the company. How your purpose, your little p, can match with the purpose of the company.
Yeah,
you have to think about it. So sometimes it doesn't. So you have to ask some question about that. But okay, let's pretend that it works. So you have really to have that. You own really all your body, your brain, and who you are. Own it. So as a leader, the work is not to the work change. It's not to arrive with your team and say you have to do that. No, it's to listen and to make them to do the work you did for yourself. So you begin a coach. As a leader, you are not anymore the person who needs to have all the answer, because you cannot. You cannot. Can you predict what's going to happen tomorrow? Can you predict? Did you predict the COVID? Did you predict that people would struggling with mental health? Did you predict that you will have a war, an economic problem, and whatever it is? No, we cannot. So we have to navigate in that uncertainty. And the only way to navigate is all together. And as a leader, being this facilitator, this coach, this listener with your team is going to help, because make them do the same work. So give, if they need help, give help to your team to do the work, to do this work. Same, find the why and see how they can, connect with the company. And it will change everything, because it will change everything.
I love that. And I love the way you phrased have their little p, their purpose. How does that align with the bigger P, the company's purpose, and finding those connections? And as you said there, it's aligning what the business is with them, and really understanding that. And I think, do a lot of companies do that at the moment in retail? Not really. For a long time, I think businesses had vision and mission and values stuck on the wall on a poster, and it looked great. It was great for marketing, but were people really, I suppose, living and breathing them and utilizing them every day? The answer really was no for a long time. But I think the more we see with what's come out of COVID is that people really want a purpose in their job. They really want to feel that they're making a difference. And I think COVID has forced us now to really go, was I happy? You know, was I making a difference? And I think purpose now and meaning in what we do, and being in there 40 hours a week in a job or 30 hours a week has become so much greater, Hortense, than it ever has before in life. So I think I've loved this chat with you. So many amazing nuggets and takeaways that I've heard, and I'm going to do a little blog post on this afterwards for anyone that wants to have a read of it as well. And thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate your time and sharing your thoughts with me today. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Louise. Thank you. It was really, really my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And please check out the book for anyone that hasn't. Aligned. It's online, and I believe the audio version as well has gone up on Amazon. Yeah, so you can listen if you want to take those couple of minutes out with your cup of coffee looking out the window. You can listen in on that on your Audible, or you can have a read at the end of the day and use those reflective questions. They're fantastic. So thanks a million, Hortense, and speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Louise. Thank you so much.